I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the first of two fireside chats today. The second one will take place at 1:30 today, and the topic is change management. My name is Dan Hounsel. I'm editor of Facility Maintenance Decisions magazine. I'm here today with Stephanie Dodd, who is Associate Executive Director with the Professional Grounds Management Society. Just a quick introduction. We're going to talk today about the grounds care industry, grounds management industry, and how trends are affecting the way that grounds managers and their staffs are performing their jobs. As a lot of you know, if you have grounds responsibilities, the institutional and commercial facilities are under a great deal of pressure resulting from demands related to sustainability, advances in grounds care chemicals and equipment technology, staffing challenges, budget pressures, all sorts of things are affecting the way grounds managers can do their jobs. Today, Stephanie will talk about the impact of these challenges on grounds departments and how grounds managers are responding. So Stephanie, let's start with a discussion of how things are changing within organizations, I suppose. How have the demands on grounds managers, maybe most exemplary from students in higher education, but how have those demands changed in recent years?
Thank you, Dan. So what we have noticed, our membership base is mainly individual grounds managers at large and small institutions. So we have municipalities, we have parks and recreation services, we have hotel resorts, some cemeteries, and then 65% of our membership actually comprises of higher education facilities. We've seen from our membership a huge significant shift in their relationship with stakeholders. In the past 10 years, their relationships with students have really changed. This comes from a generation, the current generation of students, they come from a more sustainable environment. They were raised with sustainability as a forefront topic, and this is now what they're expecting from the same institution that they're attending. You know, where does that come in for grounds managers? You know, their expectation for recycling and water conservation are not what it was 30 years ago. You know, they're under constant scrutiny from, you know, not even just so much a social media era where it's very easy to snap a photo and, you know, make a remark about something, but also the expectations that students have for the campus to be pristine while also they're facing the budget issues for restrictions and meeting sustainability demands. So right now there's a big shift in maintaining this balance between their alumni, their current students, and then the faculty as well.
And in particular, when it comes to grounds care, I suppose, and the job that grounds managers do, what areas of grounds management are being affected the most by these changing demands?
Probably the biggest area is the shift where they're moving from having what were normally, you know, maintained areas, moving back to a natural state. With the budget, there's a lot of budget cuts going forward towards, you know, facility departments, and one of those that comes into play is one of the top 10 reasons a student will select a campus is because of the curb appeal, and that's one of the first places that they will lose funding is for curb appeal. So it's, you know, balancing where you're moving away from this, you know, maintained area to more of a natural state, and, you know, still providing that. And, you know, the way that grounds managers have adapted to this issue is some of our members are using it as like a living, learning environment, where they're using the students to co-create their campus. You know, this generation of students are a lot more vocal than perhaps prior generations were. You know, using social media, they get their message out a lot faster. So, you know, they're promoting and marketing sustainability practices, and this is how the grounds managers are actually utilizing students, building relationships with students. I know one campus in particular in Texas, they're looking at putting forward a green fee as part of their application process for students, because the students want certain sustainable initiatives enacted, but they don't have the funding for it.
Right.
So that's kind of what they're facing. And, you know, there's a big shift right now for grounds managers because, you know, what they used to do was, you know, maintain a facility. Now they're expected to not only maintain, but constantly improve that facility, keep up with the new technologies that are available, but also, you know, manage their budget, budget cuts.
Mm-hmm. And with any change in operations, there are positives and there are negatives. Yeah. Are there any particular positives and negatives that you would point to, and how are managers sort of responding to those? Positives for a lot of these managers is the relationship with students. What
students are, seeing a lot more pride in their campus. If you look at, I always use social media as a fantastic example. For social media, you look at an Instagram account for a university. You'll use my alma mater, University of Delaware. Their account literally all day long, all they do is post photos of how beautiful the campus is. They are promoting the beauty of the campus. Students are taking pride in that. They're expecting more. The negative from that comes again from how fast people can, snap a photo and then, claim that something's not up to their standards. That is an issue for them. But I would say overall, what we've received from our members and feedback through surveys and just general member feedback is that they've seen more of an increase in positivity. Now, you may have trouble believing that after going to a football tailgate, but they actually do have a lot more pride in their campus than they perhaps did 20 years ago.
And in particular, sustainability, how is that continuing to impact grounds, and maybe in particular, how is it affecting the decisions that managers are making?
So sustainability, as one of my favorite members says, what the heck does that even mean? It depends where you're from. It can mean something completely different if you're in the Midwest versus someone in Southern California who's in a drought. Very different meaning for it. So what they are seeing is that there's an increased demand on grounds managers to incorporate new technologies to reduce inputs. They're expected to reduce the input on water. They're expected to reduce the inputs that they're putting towards for pesticides. With that comes, reducing your carbon footprint. We hear that all the time. Well, you're looking at alternative fuel sources. You're looking at propane mowers. You're looking at using biofuels, the shift towards solar, the shift towards reducing your input and expecting a higher output. So the sustainability field for most grounds managers right now, the focus is on moving to new technologies. That's really what they're facing. And then what they're looking at now is incorporating those technologies into their budget. A lot of these technologies are a little expensive right now, and the reason for that is there's a demand there for it, but is everyone shifting towards it at once? So for sustainability, it's affecting their ability to, update their fleets. They have to look at how much it's going to cost to update their mower fleet if they're going to move to propane. They need to be able to explain how that's going to affect, their budget moving forwards. The repairs on this, these are repairs that people aren't familiar with normally doing, so incorporating that back into their program. Those are kind of the main issues that we're facing right now.
And in terms of financial pressures, I know that every organization, every department is under pressure to do more with less. How is that playing out in terms of the decisions grounds managers are making for their staffs, for their equipment?
It's tough, I'll be honest. It is tough for them, but I'll use a great example for one of our member campuses is University of California at Davis. They have a fantastic arboretum there, for over 14,000 trees, and one of their arborists developed the state-of-the-art GIS data tracking system to manage the maintenance of the trees. So you're looking at, again, the use of technology. Yes, was it a little time-intensive to create the system? Absolutely. But if you're looking at the long-term results, you have a tracking system that's going to reduce the time that you're spending, monitoring these tree systems. Another fantastic example is using, automated systems. Irrigation is probably the biggest one that we all hear of. It's not, if I'm going to get an automated irrigation system, it's when we're getting an automated irrigation system. With that, part of that plays into, doing more with less, where you're putting in less water, you're having to monitor those systems, and, it comes, in a positive way where you're able to monitor this system remotely. You're cutting down on the staff hours there, and so you're not having to focus so much on, having to send someone out to do a repair. With also doing more with less, they're focusing on educating the public. Students may not understand that you're using drip irrigation. They look at it as a broken sprinkler. So again, University of California, Davis did a fantastic job. They have placards throughout the campus that explain to students why areas look the way they do. This is a bioswale. They explain what a bioswale is. This is why we have so much algae. This is the algae bloom reason for this pond. Not like letting students think that it's a factor of laziness. This is actually naturally what is occurring in our environment. So doing more with less. They're integrating new technologies, and they're also educating the public. And I think the biggest thing for University of California, Davis, UC Davis, is that their students are excited and want to promote these. And the reason that they started doing those placards is because students were asking questions to them about why things look the way they look.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of reaching out and then integrating that next generation into grounds management.
I know that a lot of people here are here because they're trying to expand their skill sets, gain some more insights into management issues. And I know that for the Professional Grounds Management Society, certification is a
Absolutely.
big offering. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how a certification can benefit, I suppose, both the daily job performance and then sort of the career development of a manager.
Absolutely, and if we look at grounds management today versus 30 years ago, I hate to use Groundhog Day, but it's not like that anymore. These people are expected to have extensive degrees. Most of them have bachelor's, some of them have master degrees. It's not so much just turf maintenance anymore. They're expected to have irrigation knowledge. It's business and finance. It's human resources, understanding pesticides. So, with that comes, the need for continuing education, investing in your grounds managers, and also looking for certifications. I know PGMS offers a Certified Grounds Manager designation. It is out of about 80% of employers who look for a grounds manager require or that they are either a certified grounds manager or they're in the process of becoming one. Mm-hmm. It is a nationally recognized designation. It takes over a year to complete, and it's actually an extensive portfolio that they create at their current job site. They're looking at the irrigation sections, they're looking at their turf maintenance, they're looking at their integrated pest management systems. And then they're providing that, and then they're evaluated by their peers based on their work. And it generally comes out to about a 100-page thesis. That's extremely important, and they're bringing that thesis with the remarks from their peers back to their institution, and they're providing, information to their staff members about areas that they can improve in. You're sitting down and you're looking at your irrigation system, and you start to realize, we could start doing this differently. So we really do encourage that, not only through PGMS, we encourage certifications through ISA, International Society of Arborists, through Sports Turf Managers Association, going for your CSFM, Certified Sports Field Manager, and we are about recognizing the potential and the education of an individual grounds manager. We also recognize the institution. We offer a state-of-the-art accreditation program that was developed through a conversation with APA. At the time, and there still is, no true third-party grounds management program that assesses an institution. So we developed this program. It's looking at not only best practices, it evaluates the campus, and it's based on a 4-star rating. So an example is University of California at Davis received 4 stars based on this program. My alma mater, University of Delaware, received a 2-star accreditation. So, with that comes a positive, image towards your stakeholders. You're showing that you're investing in your future, and these are now used as selling features, the fact that they are an accredited campus to potential students. And that's extremely important. And not only that, it's also growing the next generation. No one stays in the same job forever. We've seen a little bit of a decline in the individuals who are pursuing green industry majors in universities. So the importance of certifications, and not only just the grounds manager, but their staff, and encouraging them, to keep up on their pesticide licenses, to attend continuing education. And it really comes into play when you start looking at the new technologies. You have these new, irrigated and automated control systems. The data that these things are spitting out, people need to be able to analyze that data quickly, they need to be able to interpret it, and they also need to be able to react to that data. So having individuals who understand that is extremely important. So investing in that not only helps to, again, going back to more with less, you're reducing your input and you're increasing your output with that.
Very good. We've covered a lot of ground here today. I would just wonder if there's anything beyond what we've discussed related to finance or technology or sustainability that you would identify as emerging issues for grounds managers.
Again, it goes back to moving to, renewable energy sources. That is something that we, for at least higher education facilities, have noticed that students are expecting the use of renewable energy sources. They ask more questions now about, why the lights are left on, or why are these sprinklers running. So moving to, alternative fuel sources, alternative energy sources, automated systems, those are huge, and government regulations. Looking at, California as an example with the, well, I don't know if they're still in a drought now after all the rain, but, state mandated requirements. Again, back to UC Davis, they had a state mandated requirement to reduce their water input by 30%. They ended up reducing it by 65%, which is unheard of. And the education that comes with that. Another one, it sounds silly, but we have a lot of feedback from students who complain about the noise of equipment. So suppliers are now having this demand to create new equipment that creates less noise. It'd be surprising how many people actually complain about mowing at 9 a.m. on a college campus.
Sure.
Another one is the use of pesticides. This current generation, the millennial generation, will say, are very anti, GMO and very pro-organic. They're going to question the use of pesticides on campus. Encouraging grounds managers to, continue their education there and look at possibly more holistic approaches to it, and not only that, be able to explain why they are using certain pesticides to a student population who are more likely to hold them accountable than perhaps prior generations. And the last thing, it really is a data-driven industry now, and that's, really where it's going to go towards.
Sure.
And having individuals who can understand that data is extremely important moving forwards. And those are kind of the trends that we're seeing. These are the feedback from our members, whether they be in higher education or, in park systems. But overall, that's really what we've received back from our members.
Okay. Any questions for Stephanie? We do have one.
Hi, how are you? Okay.
We just put together a landscape ministry. And when I caught my ears, I was walking by. So my question is, how do, you said irrigation system, if you were to install one, what stops the roots from interfering with it?
So his question was installing an irrigation system and making sure it doesn't interfere with the roots. Is that correct? As a tree grows. Well, that would be a very technical question, I'll tell you that right now. And I don't have the experience to answer that one, but I have people I could put you in contact with who could. But if you're installing an irrigation system, if you're doing it yourself, you're looking at how far you're digging down, obviously. You're looking at the scope of the trees that are there. Are they mature trees? You can show me a picture, but I'm not going to be able to answer too much. I mean, that's a high picture. I can't tell what type of trees those are from that. Yes, but they appear to be mature trees, so that's what you're looking at. I mean, obviously, if you're planting, a young tree, they're going to grow drastically. If you have mature trees in, the root system isn't going to be the same issue that you'd be having with an immature tree. I don't know how much more I could help you on the actual irrigation system. I'm not a professional in irrigation.
There's a season for planting and reseeding. Is there?
Correct. Depends on what you're looking for. Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. I mean, yeah, you aerate your lawn each year? I mean, are you dethatching or?
See, like I said, I'm new at this, so I don't know. But the teams that we put together, they seem to know. But I want to be able to, now that I've heard you all, I'll have a little more.
Yeah, I'll go. How about we meet after this and I'll go over a few things with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Anyone?
All right.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you for attending today's Fireside Chat. Again, we've been speaking with Stephanie Dodd, who is Associate Executive Director with the Professional Grounds Management Society. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for attending. This concludes the Fireside Chat.
Thanks.